George R. Romero was an American filmmaker born in 1940. He made several classics of modern horror film such as Creepshow or the first zombie trilogy, and an episode for the anthology movie Two Evil Eyes. Already reviewed in former videos. He wrote the 6-part DC comic book series Toe Tags, The Death of the Death from 2004. As well as the 15-part Marvel one Empire of the Dead from 2014. Romero wrote, except for Creepshow, all of his scripts himself. Exceptions are also There's Always Vanilla from 1971, in the romantic drama comedy A Man Speaks About His Relationships, and his till 2021 unpublished movie The Amusement Park from 1973. This extremely interesting 1-hour psychological thriller was commissioned by a church organization as an educational film about elder abuse, but shelved and considered lost until 2017. It recounts a day in the life of an elderly man who visits an amusement park, but finds himself in a hell from which he cannot escape. Apart from sections strung together, practically all of life takes place in the park. It contains little dialogue and relies on the eerie images to depict the sheer brutality with which old people are treated by society. In 1973, he also shot several sports documentaries for the TV series The Winners, of which the one about O.J. Simpson, Juice on the Loose, became 20 years later well known thanks to the messed up murder trial, which became 2016 the subject of the first season of the very well made American crime story The People vs. O.J. Simpson. In 1973, Season of the Witch was a bizarre horror movie. A bored by her husband oppressed housewife joins a coven, secretly starts an affair and finally kills her husband, disguised as an accident. The entertaining movie has nothing to do with witchcraft, but contains some interesting dream sequences. In the same year, also The Crazies went postal on screens. Thanks to an accident with a biological weapon, people in a small town start to behave strangely and violently kill each other. At the same time, the army tries to cover up the incident by randomly arresting and murdering everybody. The depressing, realistic movie criticizes the inhuman true intentions of politicians and military. In 2010, it received by another director a very interesting remake with a similar story. In 1977, Martin thinks he's a vampire. He lives together with an uncle who encourages him in his madness to save his soul. At some point, he starts killing people and drinks their blood. The extremely strange movie is probably rightly regarded as a masterpiece by many critics. Personally, I think Martin is okay, but I'm not a fan of realistic takes on fantastic themes and monsters in general, because from my point of view, that's a contradictory. Searching for a destiny that's mine. There's another place, another time. Touching many hearts along the way, yeah. Hoping that I'll never have to say it's just an illusion. 1981, the action drama Knight Riders tried its luck. A biker gang is dressed up as knights and simulates fights on bikes in context of a traveling medieval market. The movie got many, for me, not comprehensible positive reviews. This dragging 2.5 hours long puke-boring bullshit has embarrassing dialogues and nonsensical motorcycle fighting scenarios that do not follow any rules or logic. The King Arthur topic degenerates here finally to a laughable circus act. In 1988, Monkey Shines is based on the same-named Michael Stewart novel from 1983. After an accident, a man is paralyzed from the neck down. A scientist friend gives him a trained female capuchin monkey as a helper, but he does not mention that he regularly treats her with a drug that increases her intelligence, expanding her consciousness in such a way, even leading to a telepathic contact. The studio forced the happy ending on Romero at the time. In the book, Ellen remains paralyzed to the end. Added after bad test screenings, a shock ending without his knowledge, and made sure that the originally intended ending, in which all the remaining test monkeys also get the drug and take control, wasn't used. It made just $5 million of its $7 million budget worldwide back and was a flop. The interesting thriller has a very good first half. However, in the second half he increasingly loses credibility, and the weaknesses in the script show clearly in the nonsensical stupid dialogue. Nevertheless, it's still entertaining until the fast-paced final, and a real tip. In 1993, The Dark Half is based on the same-named Stephen King novel from 1989. Thad Beaumont is a college professor and a serious writer with moderate success, but he is very successful with his horror novels under the alias George Stark. To react to a blackmailer, Beaumont himself goes public and symbolically buries it. But George Stark doesn't want to stay dead. Meanwhile, becoming a physical being, he begins to brutally kill the people involved with Beaumont. The project was actually finished in 1991, but appeared 2 years later thanks to the bankruptcy of production company Orion, as mentioned in the RoboCop 3 or Addams Family 2 review. With a budget of $15 million, he only made $10 million in the US back. Movie and book are very similar and differ only in small details. I personally prefer the book. The Dark Half is for sure one of the better King adaptations, but the novel itself has, as so often with King, except for the interesting basic idea, not really something to offer. The story stumbles from my point of view at the missing or unsatisfactory explanation for the supernatural elements. In 2000, the horror movie Bruiser went direct to video. The employee of the trend magazine Bruiser recognizes the sadness of his existence. Thanks to complexes, he fantasizes about violence. One morning he wakes up with a white irremovable mask on his face and starts to murder people which have wronged him. The story lives solely from the interesting idea that someone loses his face in the truest sense of the word. Besides that, the dragging movie is rather uninteresting and predictable. In 2005 started Land of the Dead, what I personally refer to as second or new zombie trilogy. In the ruins of a city, private military troops, homeless people and zombies fight for the last resources, while the rich people have settled on the other side of the river in a modern skyscraper. A mixture of gated community and shopping mall as a compressed form of capitalism, I guess. With costs of $50 million, the movie made just $45 million worldwide back. So no flop, but for sure not a hit either. Sellout of the Dead is a bitter disappointment. It is terrible cast and even Dennis Hopper just tones it in. To make the on-the-nose social criticism work, we suddenly have to deal with intelligent zombies to represent another suppressed class. So that makes no sense and is absolute bullshit. And how the hell is the production and consumption cycle supposed to work in a world where nobody grows, produces or manufactures anything? In 2007, the found footage wannabe Diary of the Dead was hardly found in cinemas. A group of film students get aware of a zombie outbreak through the news. So they decide to get home and also record everything with cameras to post it. Since the news don't do that. Except when they do, for example, to jumpstart the stupid plot. After the last zombie movie got produced and distributed by a large studio, this is again an independent production with a tiny $2 million budget. And it shows. Shaky cam of the dead is boring as fuck, and thanks to spongy images and the pseudo-documentary style, pure eye torture. In 2009, the sequel Survival of the Dead was also an independent production. A group of survivors rescues themselves to a supposedly safe island. There they get into an old family feud in which both sides decimate each other or get killed by zombies. Scratching the bottom of the barrel of the Dead is a bit better than its predecessor, but only because worse was impossible. It pretends again that money has still some value, similar stupid as in Land of the Dead. And the family quarrels, which nobody gives a fuck about, seem like straight out of a completely different, even worse movie.